Hi guys, in today's lockdown lesson I would like to talk to you about the difference between GDP, Gross Domestic Product, and GNP, Gross National Product. You will no doubt be aware from your study of economics that national income can be measured in three different ways: the income method, the output method, and the expenditure method. And in theory, regardless of which measure you use, you should always arrive at the same number for the value of national income. Now, whenever you calculate national income using the expenditure method, really what you're doing is you're using your AD equation, your aggregate demand equation, C to the I to the G to the X minus M. So C plus I plus G plus, open brackets, X minus M, close brackets. And you'll all be familiar with those components, C being consumption expenditure, I investment expenditure, G government expenditure, X exports, and M imports. And when you work through that, what you're actually doing is you are calculating the value of GDP using that expenditure method. And obviously when you're doing your analysis diagrams, that tends to be the go-to method that you use. So what then is the difference between gross domestic product and gross national product? And as I've said here, it really is, ladies and gentlemen, a question of ownership. My students and me, we are located, of course, in the northeast of England, and the Nissan factory is located not too far from here in Sunderland. And the output, although it's closed at the moment, obviously during lockdown, but the output of Nissan Sunderland, which is of course a Japanese company, that would be included in the value of the UK's gross domestic product. So why is that, ladies and gentlemen? Well, gross domestic product measures the total value of goods and services that a country produces using resources which are located in the country, but it doesn't matter who owns those resources. So that's why I've said it's a question of ownership. So in spite of the fact that those are Japanese owned resources, that doesn't matter. The output is still part of the UK's gross domestic product. Well then, I hear you ask, how do we get from GDP to GNP, gross national product? Well, to get from GDP to GNP, we have to add a figure which is called the net property income from abroad, sometimes abbreviated to NPIA for short. So we go GDP, add net property income from abroad, and we will get GNP. So let me just give you an example of that. Sticking with Nissan in Sunderland. Nissan, Japanese-owned company, at the end of the financial year, hopefully, from its point of view, lots of interest, profits and dividends will flow out of the UK and back to Japan, because it's a Japanese-owned company. But similarly, of course, companies which are located in Japan, which are UK-owned, so such as Lush, for example, or Topshop, they will generate a flow of interest, profits, dividends, hopefully back in t'other direction. And so in this example, if 100 million flowed out of the UK back to Japan, we might see, for example, 50 million flowing back into the UK. Now in this case, the outflow is obviously bigger than the inflow. So what then is the difference between GDP and GNP? And I hope you're beginning to see the difference. The difference is that GNP measures the total value of domestically owned resources, so that's UK owned resources, regardless of their location. So in spite of the fact that Lush and Topshop might have premises and operations in Japan, that will still yield a flow of monies back into the UK. But similarly, Nissan is not UK owned, and therefore, whilst it appears in our GDP, it will not appear in our gross national product because it is not a domestically owned resource. Now, the reason that I'm talking about this today is because the David Smith questions that I sent at the weekend for my year 12s, we were looking at FDI, which is foreign direct investment. David Smith was talking about foreign direct investment into the UK and the whole notion of helping to level up the regions, and one potential way of doing that is of course to attract foreign direct investment. Another country which has attracted a lot of FDI in recent years, particularly post-financial crash, is the Republic of Ireland, the south of Ireland, and a lot of that is to do with got a very young workforce, demographically that is, and also very favourable corporation tax rates as well. And they've been able to attract big multinational companies to locate in Ireland. But because they're not owned by Irish people, they're not Irish companies, what you will find there is that the value of the GNP, the gross national product, is much less than the gross domestic product because they experience enormous outflows of interest, profits, dividends because there are so many foreign owned companies located in and producing in the Republic, the south of Ireland. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for lockdown lesson 2. If you've got any questions, submit them in the comments below. If you don't subscribe, then please do hit the subscribe button. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter and my website, which is geekonomics.co.uk. Bye for now.